Hey, and welcome back to A Better Choice Homestead and this week's edition of Freeze Dry Friday. Question for you. Are you tired of food waste, rising grocery store prices, and last-minute meal stress? Well, today we are going to solve all three with two of my absolute kitchen essentials: freeze-dried onions and potatoes. Imagine having perfectly prepped, nutritious vegetables ready in your pantry in the future at today's prices. Beyond just convenience, freeze-drying these staples locks in their incredible nutrition. Let's talk about why these humble vegetables are powerhouses for your health. Onions aren't just flavor. They're packed with vitamin C and the powerful antioxidant quercetin, known for its anti-inflammatory properties and its ability to lower cholesterol. They're a true gut-healthy hero. And the often misunderstood potato is another fantastic source of vitamin C, in addition to vitamin B6, potassium, and essential dietary fiber. When prepared simply, they're a wholesome and energy-rich addition to any meal. So let's go get that freeze dryer started, and while it's cooling down, we'll take a look at the trays and what we've got on them. We're just going to hit customize to make sure that we are set optimally for potatoes and onions, which want a negative 10 degree Fahrenheit initial freeze, so we're good there. 0 extra freeze time, we're good there, and a dry temp of 120, so that's perfect. The extra dry time is up to you. I typically have mine set for 15 hours, but sometimes I do go longer than that if it's going to be inconvenient for me to come and package up the food at that time. So we can save this and then start the freeze dryer. So we can load the trays in 15 minutes. First up are onions. I've prepared them in two ways: diced for quick additions to soups, stews, or ground meat meals, and sliced for sautéing or topping dishes. It's all about making future cooking effortless. Next, we have potatoes. Now, I'm shredding these thinly, specifically with hash browns in mind. The key here is thinness for optimal freeze drying and quick rehydration into crispy perfection. You're going to want to do a cold water soak once they're shredded, and then a quick blanch in boiling water so you don't end up with gray potatoes. Be sure to start your timer once the water comes back up to a boil, and you're going to want to do that for 3 to 4 minutes. Once blanched, you're going to want to give them a rinse under cold water, which will stop the cooking process and cool them down quickly so they can go right into the freezer for a 24-hour pre-freeze. Look at how much starch is released during the soak. So, question for you: has anyone made their own potato starch this way? I'm going to have to look into doing that. And we end up with 4 trays ready to go right into the freeze dryer. This smells so good. We have a full tray of sliced onions, and these are just white onions. We have a full tray of diced onions. I've been missing these. I don't have any left in my kitchen cabinets. And then we have the shredded potatoes. Can you see how small those were shredded? I used the smallest blade on the food processor, and that is going to make for some amazing hash browns. All right, let's go get these loaded into the freeze dryer and get that process started. All right, we're 15 minutes in, so we can get started. I did thoroughly clean my machine after my last load, which was raw pork. So I scrubbed it down and then wiped it with some vinegar as well. So here's our diced onions. As I mentioned, I'm super excited to have these again. I have not had these in my kitchen for, I think, a couple months now. Here's our sliced onions. And I've seen a lot of questions in some freeze drying groups about doing different foods in with onions and whether or not the aroma transfers. I have not had that experience. I don't know if these are the same exact type of onions that I've done before, so we'll see. But I figured that even if the potatoes come out with a little bit of an oniony flavor, that would be a bonus. So that's why I'm choosing to do these two together. I think the first time I did onions, I did them with mangoes, and that was not a problem at all. The onions did not taste like mango. The mangoes did not taste like onion, but again, I can't remember exactly what kind of onion I used. More shredded potatoes. These are pre-frozen, so I'm thinking maybe up to 36 hours on these, but we shall see. So with the door closed, we just need to close the drain valve and then push continue. So we'll see you back here in a couple days. Take a look, we'll test for dryness, we'll get these packaged up, and we'll rehydrate some. All right, here we are 46 and a half hours later, although I did add an extra 5 hours onto here to get me through the night. So I'm just going to arrow down the time to 0, and then we can open the drain valve and get these checked out. Looks good. We have our diced onions. Very dry, very powdery. Our sliced onions, same thing, dry and powdery. And our shredded potatoes, also very dry, and this would be very powdery as well. I don't want to smush them down though. And tray 2. Let's get these into the kitchen and get some of them rehydrated, cooked up, give them a test, and we'll get everything packaged up. I'm gonna start by putting some in a bowl so we can get this rehydrated and cook up a little breakfast here. The potatoes are so incredibly delicate. Now I did shred them, I think I mentioned, on the smallest setting for shred. It's been a while since I've done potatoes. I don't remember if that was the same way I did them last time or not. But those should rehydrate pretty quickly. I'm going to add just a little bit of onion in here. Now, one of the things I love about freeze-dried onion is you can make onion powder out of it. If you make onion powder coming right out of your freeze dryer, then that's all you have. But if you leave your onions intact and you want to get some onion powder, all you have to do is crumble them down into whatever it is you want to put the onion powder into, and you are good to go. So that's what I'm going to do with these onions in here. We're going to have an oniony flavored home fry or hash brown. Now, we don't want to leave these sitting out too long on the trays because they could rehydrate some humidity in the air. I do have water here in my kettle. I'm just going to add a little bit. We're going to drain off anything that doesn't get absorbed, so I'm not really worried about too much water. And we're going to set that aside. And then we're going to get these all packaged up. I'm just going to put them in glass because I don't have any in my kitchen cabinets right now of either onions or potatoes. So I'm going to do the onions in 2 half-gallon jars, one for the slices, and then the other for the dices. Now, these do smell good, but they're not overpowering. And maybe it's the onions that, the type of onion, because I have heard a lot of people say that they get the cross-contamination of flavors. I don't, and these are not incredibly aromatic. They're delicious, and these are just organic white onions that I source from Azure Standard. I do have onions and potatoes both in long-term storage. So right now I'm just doing a kitchen restock. gonna smush these down a little. They are gonna break doing that, but I'm so close to having all of these in there that I don't wanna put them in a second jar. And a nice half-gallon jar filled with sliced onions. These will stay good in my kitchen cabinet with no oxygen absorber or any extra needed help for at least a year. So that's where these are gonna go. We're gonna do the same thing with the diced onions. And the diced onions will also powder down just as easily if you want to get some freshly ground onion powder into a meal or a dish. And that's why I tend to leave them whole in this form, because it's just too easy to powder them down as needed. There's only a few left in here. I'm so tempted. I mean, that's it, just a cap full left. I'm not gonna get another jar for a cap full of onions. We're gonna smush. And if we end up with some onion powder at the bottom of the jar, then we have onion powder at the bottom of the jar. So a half-gallon worth of diced onions for my kitchen cabinets as well. And for the potatoes that are shredded to be used as hash browns, I'm gonna put those into a 1-gallon jar. And I'm just going to separate them a little bit. I'm not crunching them down. I'm just very loosely encouraging them to let go of that bind that they have, that starchy bind. But they do release easily when rehydrated. But if they are in a big ball as they go into this jar, they're gonna take up a lot more room and not fit as well as if they were, you know, individual pieces. And this jar is big enough that I can get my hand inside too if I need to encourage it. I did use the silicone mats with the potatoes just in case they wanted to stick with all the starch. Yeah, I think we're gonna get 2 trays in here, no problem. So again, just encouraging them to separate and not be clumpy and take up too much space in the jar. These feel 100% completely, totally, unequivocally dry. No worries about them whatsoever. We just want to make sure that we get them into the jar before they start to rehydrate. Perfect. 1 gallon of freeze-dried hash browns will last my family quite a while. We're not an everyday or even an every week potato eating family, but it is nice to have on the shelf for those times when you want a quick meal, especially a breakfast burrito. I love having things like this at the ready. All right, let's take a look at our rehydrating potatoes and onions. All right, let's see where we're at. It's just been a couple of minutes here. And these are almost fully rehydrated. They smell incredible. You've got that fresh onion flavor in here with these. I'm just seeing some color variation here. Of course, my eyes are bad. Yeah, that's not quite rehydrated, so I'm gonna add just a smidge more water. I just think that those just didn't have access to the water. Everything else in here looks really good. Yeah, that looks great. Now we certainly don't have to add any onion powder to here because we added that from the onions. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of smoked paprika. Now a little bit of salt and pepper, and that should be plenty of spices for such a small amount of potato. And then we'll get that mixed through again. And then this can just go straight into the pan. Of course, you can add any other herbs and spices that you would like in your hash browns. We are going to be using some oil in the pan. You need some sort of a fat. That looks great. That was super quick, super simple, and we're ready to cook. I've got a skillet here warming up on about a medium. I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to the pan just so the potatoes don't burn. We're just going to get those in there. Make a nice hash brown patty. You could serve this with or without egg, even freeze-dried egg. Look at that. Look how perfect. We'll give that just a couple minutes to cook. I'm gonna flatten that out a little bit or it's gonna take quite a while to cook because that was like 3/4 of an inch thick. There we go. Add a little bit more oil just around and on top of the potato. And that will help it go a little bit faster as well. You know, freeze drying onions and potatoes is a fantastic way to boost your pantry preparedness and enjoy convenient, healthy meals and to lock in today's prices for future use. I think it's a game changer for a busy kitchen. I'm gonna turn my heat up just a little. And remember, when we processed these or prepped these for processing, we removed a lot of the potato starch, so there's not a lot of binder in here. You could add maybe some egg whites. I do have freeze-dried egg whites. I could have mixed that in here just to kind of help it bind together. But when I flip this, it's going to fall apart, and that's okay. I'm not trying to serve up a McDonald's hash brown. But let's go ahead and flip and see what we look like. Ooh, yeah. Crispy, golden goodness. Look at that. This is just about done. Yep, this looks about done to me. We've got inside, we've got the soft potatoes, and on the outside, we've got some crispiness going on. So I think we are ready to get this served up. And of course, you could always add some extra seasonings if you wanted to at serving time. But otherwise, these should be perfect. Ah, this smells incredible. I love the aroma of the onions in here. That's a win. Freeze-dried hash browns. All right, let's go ahead and give these a taste. Look how delicious that looks. We've got that best combination of the golden soft inside and that crispy golden outside, and the onion flavor and aroma in here as well. That's delicious. We have a nice slight crunch. This is absolutely incredible. So delicious. It is nice and creamy on the inside and crunchy on the outside, and that onion flavor is making this a home run for sure. Yum. This would be great served alongside some bacon or sausage or eggs. This is incredible and so easy. That rehydrated in just a couple of minutes and cooked up in just a couple of more. This couldn't be easier or more flavorful. I think I'm gonna eat this whole thing. I'm not a big breakfast person. I don't usually eat in the early morning, but this is irresistible. So good. These are definitely a win. Let me know in the comments what your favorite kitchen essential must-haves are for freeze drying. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing for more weekly Freeze Dry Friday content. In the meantime, feel free to check out my Freeze Dry Friday playlist to watch more between now and next Friday. My name is Kelly, you're at A Better Choice Homestead, and I do hope you come back and visit again soon.